Are you finding yourself being very like codependent? Maybe how you feel on day to day is based on like what other people say about you, what results you're getting, and anything external. Well, I wanted to cover that in today's episode. Welcome back to the Men's Mental Health and podcast. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about this today, and I did notice I stumbled a little bit on that opening, which is great. But anyway, I like to keep this real. I'm not a fancy edited podcast. So, yeah, no matter how long, and that's like, no matter how long I've done this, I will still slip up in my podcast. I've done it for years, right? I will say things not as smooth, right? And that's kind of my message today. And I didn't even do that deliberately, by the way. That was something just that spontaneously came up to me by, slipping up on my words there. I think it really ties into this because if I was someone who was so dependent on being inverted commas perfect, then I would have redone that again. I'm not. I want to really give a message to you that's really helping me mentally and emotionally and really helping you to grow as a man. The thing is, codependency for me has been a big challenge. And am I completely exempt from it? No, I'm still working through it, right? Like now and then, I work in sales, right? And I do get a little bit uncomfortable asking very challenging questions. Not as badly as I used to, but yeah, if I really go in, because I've got to be honest, I've done a lot of sales calls in my life and am I the best salesperson in the world? Absolutely not. Right. I always want to up my game, and it's not about just making money for me. Obviously, I do like that. I'm not going to lie, but it's about helping people out of the bullshit in their head, because I know decent-hearted salespeople like myself who have helped me have taught me out of my bullshit. And sometimes people get funny about that, and then they start saying things like, "Oh, you're just trying to sell me." Well, yeah, there are people who are just trying to sell you, just take your money, don't care about you. But when people say that, when you're in a place of service, they say that because some of their weakness or weak areas come up. And I know for me, that's happened to me. Maybe weakness is the wrong word. We all got sort of insecure or wounded areas, right? But for me, I still get a little bit nervous about that. So if I was completely non-codependent, I wouldn't care. But I do care about other people, and that's what makes us humans, I believe, right? As a really, okay, outside of sales, if you really feel like you want me to give an example outside of sales, coaching, you sign up with a real high quality coach. And I used to be not strong enough as a coach, because I used to kind of pat them on the back and say what they're doing is okay and just mirror back what they're saying, rather than calling them out on their bullshit. But when you actually call people out on their bullshit, that's when transformation happens. My friends, when I challenge them, they're the ones who want to be challenged, of course, are "Oh, thank you, I needed that kick," right? And that's what the best coaches do. It's you go to the gym, and this is linked to codependency. You go to the gym and you're "Oh, I don't want to do my last 20 press ups. It's gonna hurt." And the personal trainer goes, "Oh, that's okay. You don't need to do that." No, you'd be "That's a shit personal trainer. You want someone to push you." So certainly for me, I want someone to push me, and you need to break out of just being liked all the time in order to really enhance the quality of your life, I believe. Certainly been true for me. When I've been able to challenge people, sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. I've challenged people and I've been fired. I've shared that before. I've challenged people and been praised for being the one who said the different opinion, right? So anything could happen. I've, challenged people on calls and "Thank you for challenging me." And then an hour later, they're "That was just a sales call." It really wasn't, I just taken away the idea of selling. I was just serving you at that point and challenging. And I've had the same back at me. And I used to be really insecure when someone would challenge me, right? But if you're so codependent on other people, you cannot challenge them. You cannot push them. You cannot help them as much, right? So my point is around that example and story I was giving you is there's always going to be a level of dependence on other people, I believe. But the degree to which you're hooked is going to determine the quality of your life, I believe. Certainly been true for me. So like, I'm not going to be in a point where like, I don't care what anyone thinks ever. Like people who post out on social media, by the way, do care what other people think because they're posting it on social media. Just to point that one out. Like I would share this, but if someone puts a really, I could get criticism, I could get like challenging comments. That's totally cool, right? But like, if someone says something really hateful and nasty, of course it's going to impact me a little bit. Now I'm not going to be as hooked as I would have been, but like that's my level of codependency. So for me, I just wanted to talk about codependency because it's something I've been working through, and the area it's really showed up. Like if someone says something defensive in sales, if someone has criticized me in the workplace, yeah, I can handle that. A day or so later, I'm probably over it, right? But like the biggest area is dating relationships for me, and generally speaking to people in life and studying this kind of thing and learning from some great teachers out there. That tends to be what I understand the most impactful area in anyone's life, because dating and relationships are pulling up a mirror. They're like, right, I'm really going to show you what's going on with you. But that can also be light, right? Like if it's a good match, you feel amazing, right? I know when I've dated a girl and it's been going really well, and then she's like complimenting, we're feeling good, we're like holding like the mirror up to each other's good points. But I've also seen, that sounded dodgy when I said it. So the good qualities within our personalities, that's what I should have said. Right, anyway, let's carry on. But yeah, that's certainly the area where you can really get impacted, I believe, in codependency. And yeah, it's something I'm still like working through. But now I'm at a point where like I do get interest, but it's like the old me would have gone like, oh, she's pretty, and then just being like, she's pretty, she seems quite cool. Oh, I gotta go please her now. Now I'm in a point where I'm like, does her energy seem right? Is there emotional chaos in her? And I'm just sensing this. This is not like a complete analysis writing it down, but I just sense these kind of things now from the work I've done on myself. So I'm like, great, she could be beautiful, she could be a model, she could be like intelligent. But if she's like emotional chaos, I don't want to know, right? And that's different from healthy feminine energy, by the way. Healthy feminine energy for me, and by the way, both men and women, or whatever gender you identify as, both have masculine and feminine energy. But like if I'm talking to a woman who's mostly dominant in feminine energy, then there's a healthy feminine energy, because sometimes it's like excited, sometimes joy, sometimes it's maybe a little bit upset. And yeah, she'll go through like different changes in the mood. But like emotional chaos is different. And I've even experienced this year from someone I met. And beautiful human being, by the way. It's just some of us have quite a lot of wounds. This is back in like April. But like, yeah, like and I've experienced it before, and that suggested to me I need to make a change in me, because I believe we attract what's inside of us. So I've been doing a lot of work, and this is really early in the in my year. But like, yeah, like emotional chaos, like for me, like now I'm like at a point where I'm like, if I can see emotional chaos, and that can be little things, that's like, oh, sorry, I've been really busy. I can't, and by the way, I banned the B word for my life. I had so much on, like, I haven't texted you for a week. Like, you're gone, right? Because that for me is emotional chaos. Someone who says the word, my life is chaos, you're gone. Because this is not judgment, by the way. This is self-love. It is boundaries and knowing yourself. So if you keep attracting the same kind of person, you need to be very clear on what your boundaries are. And you need to do the work on yourself so you don't attract that as much, I've realized. And going back to the point on codependency, the point is that I've moved to a place where I'm like seeing these signs and I'm feeling less attraction to women in emotional chaos because of the work I've done on me, and that's reducing the codependency. Now I'm like, do I like them? Do I not? Do they feel safe? Do they feel like someone I can look after? All these kind of things, right? And much more, right? And like, even like, building my challenge, who I am as a person, like I just don't feel so reliant on people's thoughts, people's outcomes as I would have. So how have I done this? Because I want to share that with you today. I've done this by putting an awful lot of work into myself. I have been, yeah, really, really working on myself by just sitting with the emotions that come up. So if I'm feeling anxiety I'm not defining myself as anxiety. If you keep saying I have anxiety or I am anxiety, you are creating a problem for yourself. You are someone who is experiencing the emotion of anxiety temporarily. Once you start identifying with it, that's when it becomes a challenge. I identify with peace and joy because they're fun to identify as. But yeah, the more you can start sitting with your emotions, the more you can start becoming very conscious of your good habits and the ones that don't serve you, like your little, like addictions, like things for me, like social media, scrolling, and I still have to call myself out loud, or eating food or drinking alcohol, whatever it's been. Like when I can start identifying them, that's really, really helped me move forward. And then sitting with myself, the more I can sit with myself and understand myself and talk to myself with love, like I do it like 5 times a day. Like I will sit with myself 5 times a day at least and talk through some statements on the truth of how much I love myself every single day. And sometimes it's harder than others, but that's embedded a belief in me. And therefore, when you can love yourself, I've realized, it therefore makes you less dependent on other people to try and fill that gap. You don't know it until you do it. Like people will say, oh, I know that, I've heard that. You don't know something. I didn't know this until I started living it. And you live it by practicing it over and over and over again. We practice the shit stuff anyway. Like we practice things like watching movies or things that make us feel bad, even if they're entertaining. We practice scrolling and comparing ourselves to others. So you might as well practice loving yourself. You might as well practice saying positive things to yourself and then catching yourself for every single negative and then changing it into a positive and becoming aware of the things that make you feel good as an individual, make you feel bad, and then start doing the more empowering ones. Make a system, make some habits. And by becoming aware and addressing the things that are adding more of the things that are working and reducing less of the things that are not, that's when I found that codependency has reduced, and therefore my mental and emotional well-being has improved. So I wanted to share that with you today on this message on codependency. Thank you for listening. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.